Flora's got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feet, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through seasons she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.
Florabella on my screen, her smile it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene, in the morning or the night. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows, we're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows, we're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong. Every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong.
All right, what is going on, everybody? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a good day so far. Hope you're having a good day, a good night. It's Thursday, okay? I am on the path to make sure I continue to put content out there. I know a lot of you guys found me when I was doing 8, 7 a.m. streams. So hopefully this new time is going to work out for many of you. And if you're catching the playback, just make sure to do me a favor and hit the like button. If you're in the chat with me right now, hit the like button, share, subscribe, all of that. I appreciate every little last interaction with the channel. Now let me go ahead and say hello. What's going on, Louie? He says, hell yeah, she's back. Yes, I am back. Trying to find a good rhythm, which I think I've kind of found my rhythm. So hopefully this continues to work out for people and get in here and get right into the content. I'm glad to have made your day better. What's going on, Cynical One? And we got Young Riaz. Louis says it's 3 p.m. in Arizona right now, so it's perfect for me. Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. I know it's also, that's West Coast time, so that's perfect. West Coast is getting this nice and early. It's about 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, so I'm about to get into the content. All right, just give me like 2 to 3 more minutes to set something up. I have lots of videos for you guys today. Now, I did want to do a part 2 to this, right? Because I went back and I watched part 1, and I realized that I let a lot of people in the chat in that video sort of control the pace and the degree to which we talk about cops who end up in trouble with the law and the irony of that. Now, today I've got a nice lineup for you guys. We're going to really see the whole range of cases and charges that police officers get, because the one thing about body camera is it doesn't lie on the police and it doesn't lie on people who interact with the police. So in a good way, we get to see the things that we're doing in the public that's inappropriate, that maybe we weren't as honest about how often it happens, right? But we also get to see police officers being dealt with in their own ways, whether they're on duty, off duty, whether it's been discovered after they get off the clock that they've been up to no good. We're going to get into all of it today, and there's going to be no crying and no losing your panties or wigs in the chat, okay? I don't want nobody coming in here upset because I'm doing the conversation on a sore subject. Now, I have a lot of respect for law enforcement, okay? But there are flaws. Just like as humans, as citizens, we have flaws too, right? We are sometimes entitled. We are sometimes irresponsible and reckless, right? So we have a right to talk about it. So I don't want nobody coming in here crying with those tears, okay? We're going to talk about it just like we talk about regular citizens getting DUIs or being arrested for other things. Now, the theme of the show today is officers or police when they're the bad guys. So let's get into it. This first one is a nice and short video, but this was something that was sort of shocking. I saw it has been trending for the last couple of days, but a police officer made an unthinkable mistake. Okay, she accidentally, I believe, shot a man who was only accused of possibly running a red light. All right, so let's get into that video first, and then we'll get the show going.
Oh, you're all right. You okay? Put the gun down.
A driver is accidentally shot in the leg by a police officer during a traffic stop. This is body camera video of the incident that happened last month in Jacksonville, Florida. The driver was pulled over for allegedly running a red light.
He blew that red light.
I like your yellow and turned red when I went on.
It was red when he blew it.
It was yellow.
Okay. Well, I saw it. It was red.
While the officer was speaking to the driver from the passenger window, he asked,
You got anything crazy in the car?
Yeah.
What do you got?
citing safety reasons, he asked the driver to step out so they can.
Okay, so if you're living in a state where it is legal to carry, this is the smartest thing to do, right? You get on a very regular traffic stop, right? You got passing on a red light. You have a weapon in your vehicle, that's the smart thing to do. Yes, I have a weapon. It's over here. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, so far the driver has done exactly what he needs to do. So I want to know really what it was that happened that made this officer, whether it was accidental or not, trigger happy. All right, we got like 30 seconds left of this, so it happens pretty quickly apparently.
And removed the gun from his person. The driver complied. As Officer Mindy Cardwell removed the gun, it went off.
You okay? Put the gun
The officers then rushed to render first aid to the driver. An internal investigation revealed that Officer Cardwell had unintentionally put pressure on the trigger, causing the gun to go off, shooting the driver in the leg. Cardwell was charged with incompetence and fired, police said. The driver was taken to the hospital to be treated for his wound. This is Inside Edition Digital.
All right, so now originally I thought it was the officer's gun, but it looks like it might have been the gun that he had on him that she was supposed to be taking off. So obviously, you know, this is a pretty lighthearted one, right? I wanted to include this example here because sometimes things really do happen, right? But this transparency here, right? Us being able to see the footage, yes, it was an accident, right? We're able to understand, okay, maybe officers make a mistake, but nonetheless, she was arrested for this. And it was just sort of like one of those situations like, wow, I can't believe a police officer, you know, didn't know how to safely remove a gun from somebody's person. But yeah, so what do you guys think about that one? That was a really simple one, not too much to it, but I just realized this was trending. So it says the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office released body camera footage of the incident that happened last month. The driver was pulled over for allegedly running a red light while the officer was speaking to the officer. The driver stated he had a gun. The officer asked him to step out of the car, and that's when the gun went off. Yeah, so she was supposed to be safely removing the gun from him and pewed him. Now I wonder if he's gonna be due some money, you know, because that's a trauma. I mean, it's gonna come from the people, right? That's why, like, I don't know why people cheer when the police departments and things have to pay out lawsuits, because it's really we're the ones paying for it. But yeah, what do you guys think about that one? That was a pretty short one, not too much to it, but she accidentally shot him in the leg. Like, that's crazy. Imagine you get pulled over for speeding or, you know, passing on a red light, and you have your weapon on you, and the police officer is the one who discharges it. All right, so the next one we're gonna watch is actually a police chief. Now he was, or police captain, I should say. He was off the clock, but he was at the casino and he was drinking, he was intoxicated or whatever, and he was acting funny in the parking lot of that casino. So the cop stopped him and it appeared that he was drinking. Now let's see how this one turns out, because he makes a very, very strange request, or I should say a very disturbing request of the officer who catches him drunk.
Stay in your vehicle. Back in your car.
I'm
Drunk?
no, the captain.
Huh? A what?
Captain.
Of what? The big. Don't reach in your pocket. Get back in your car.
So he's caught drinking, and the first thing he says, I'm a captain. I'm a captain. What does that have to do with you getting behind the wheel while you're intoxicated?
116, show me 1060 on Henry Lincoln Edward 497. Have a seat.
I will. I'm not.
You've been drinking tonight?
I just got a ride.
You've been drinking tonight, sir.
I'm a captain on the police department.
What police department?
Oklahoma City.
What division?
Now, hold on. Did you guys hear that? Hold on. I'm going to play it back for you because I want you guys to hear what he just said.
You've been drinking tonight?
I just got a ride.
You've been drinking tonight, sir.
I'm a captain on the police department.
What police department?
Oklahoma City.
What division?
Investigations.
What are you doing pulling in here?
My mom and I stay here.
You been drinking? How much we had to drink tonight, sir?
Now, I know you guys saw that again. He says, okay, now, first of all, we see you, officer, okay? he must be so embarrassed now. You know, he must be so embarrassed to be looking back at this like, wow, the world has to know that I tried to get this guy to be dishonest about me drinking and driving. Now, he probably doesn't care, but this is something that's going to be a stain on his reputation as a police captain. Okay, it's one thing to commit misconduct and do bad things as a police officer. It's another thing to get caught on camera doing it. I mean, thank goodness for body camera, right? Or we would actually believe that some of these officers, investigators, or whatever, that they're perfect people. Now, he wasn't going to get away with this because his eyes got all big. He said, "Turn off your camera." Not a good look, officer. Not a good look. Let's continue.
I'm not turning my camera off.
Okay.
Go ahead and step out of the vehicle. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, we're not gonna get a return on it. How much we drink tonight, sir?
I was at a poker game.
Uh-huh. Because you're swerving all over me when you turn off here. You didn't use your signal.
I'm sorry.
How much you drink at your poker game?
Not much.
Not much? How much is not much?
I don't know.
Beer? Liquor?
Yeah.
How many beers?
3 or 4.
3 or 4? How long ago was that?
I mean, the eyes are just so wide. I mean, he's obviously intoxicated. And if he was swerving like that, there's a reason why this officer is handling him the way he is. You can't just try to brush this off. Whether you're a police officer or not, it is not appropriate to be acting like this. They're supposed to hold themselves to high moral standards. And we know cops aren't perfect, but this is just ridiculous. Aeem's trash says not weird at all. What's weird? What is weird? Him? He is pretty weird. I'll say that. You know, he keeps turn your camera off. Now, what if he would have said turn your camera off, and the police officer actually turned the camera off? You know, it's ridiculous.
It's been a while.
How long ago did you drink your last beer, sir?
What time is it now?
It's 0140.
Midnight.
You think you should drive it?
No, but I came from 4 blocks.
Your mom lives here.
I live here.
You live here.
Yes.
Forward to the rear of your vehicle.
Okay.
You got any weapons or anything on you?
I do not, sir.
Just turn around. I'm going to pat you down real quick.
Go ahead. Do what you need to do. I promise you I'm not a problem.
Okay.
Can I shut my door?
I'll shut it for you. Just hang out there at the rear of your Chevy. What investigations are you with? Yeah, over there. You know Lieutenant Britton?
Then there shouldn't be any discussion
Yeah.
as to whether it should be available to.
He's a good man.
You know, honestly, you know the old white man uniform would be some sneakers, some cargo shorts, and an athletic top. Okay, even if they haven't touched a treadmill or a weight in 100 years. King Rooster says he's a white man. He has a gun somewhere. What? Victor, like, it's like you wake up and the first thing that you notice is I'm a black man. Like, I don't get it. What does that have to do with anything? He's a police captain and he's drunk. Okay, now this is definitely not the worst of the cases we're going to be looking at. But I just thought it was funny. Like, he really thinks, oh, I'm going to tell him, like, at least shoot him a text message or be like, can I have your number for my, record song? It's just ridiculous, but let's continue.
And I like him.
Yes. He works for Jermaine.
Jermaine Johnson?
Yes.
Jermaine's a good man, too.
He is.
Hang out right there, sir.
Got you, brother.
Just stand with your feet together, hands down by your side for me. Hands down by your side, please. Look straight ahead. You see the tip of my pen, sir?
I do.
I want you to follow the tip of my pen without moving your head, okay? Don't move your head, sir. Come over here. It's a little bit more level. Do you have in those shoes any cause you for keeping your balance or anything?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. I'm going to demonstrate for you first. While I'm demonstrating, I want you to stand with your feet together, hands down by your side, just like this. All right, sir? What's your name?
Matt French.
Matt French. Mr. French, stand just like that for me.
Okay.
When I tell you to begin, okay, I'm just going to demonstrate for you first. I want you to pick a foot of your choosing. It doesn't matter if it's your left or your right foot.
I'm familiar.
And I want you to lift it approximately 6 inches off the ground. And while you look at your toe, I want you to count by 1,000s, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, so on and so forth until I tell you to stop. At any point in time, you lose your balance or your foot touches the ground, just go ahead and pick your foot back up and continue to count, okay? Do you understand these instructions I've explained to you, Mr. French? You may begin.
1,000.
Keep
Sir,
going.
can you turn that off,
I cannot, sir.
please?
I know you're aware of our body cam policy. You know I cannot turn off this body cam.
do, but I'd like to talk to you.
I can't do that, sir.
Please. Please. I'd like to talk to you.
Well, are you going to do the test or not?
Will you please talk to me?
I'll talk to you once we're
You
done.
can turn it off, you can turn it on.
I can turn it off once I'm done with my investigation, sir.
Okay. I'm asking you. I'm a captain on this police department.
I understand that, sir.
I get
And
that.
I am a sergeant on this police officer, and I've taken an oath to uphold the law. I don't show favoritism to anyone, regardless. I don't care if you're a gangbanger or the president of the United States.
Sir, I'm not asking you for that.
If I was to treat you differently than I was to treat like some Southside loco or some pedo, how's that look on me?
Okay, I'm not asking you for that.
Because I wouldn't do that for any of them.
I'm very proud of this police officer, right? I think it's amazing that he's standing up to him. I'm also just wondering, like, why does it sound like a script? He's like, what do I look like if you were some pedo or something? Like, he sounds like he's reading a movie script. It's hard to know what's even real these days. Why can't I say breathalyzed? Wait, who's timing you out, Gino? I don't see you getting timed out. Let me check. Now, y'all could definitely time out whoever's in the chat talking about Donald Trump. I don't see you getting timed out, Gino. So maybe YouTube isn't letting you see it, but I don't see you getting. Yeah, it's definitely not my channel. So, yeah, it's YouTube. They must have some type of weird policy. But, you know, certain words, they do get blocked on here. Now, I'm going to say this. This police captain is, like, literally begging him to, you know, talk to him off camera. But I think this cop here, he's standing on business. Now, it sounds like a script, but apparently it's not, right? As far as we know, it's not a script. So let's watch the last few minutes of this, and then we're going to move on. There's some more serious cases for us to talk about tonight.
Sergeant Skinner, please.
Are you going to do the test or not, sir?
I will. I will do whatever you ask.
Okay, once we complete the test, I'll turn off my body camera once I'm done with my investigation.
Okay.
You want to try that again?
I will.
All right, you may begin.
1, 2, 3, 4. Sir, please. Please. I'm asking you.
I can't do that.
He's like, I'm asking you, please. Shout out to this cop for standing on business. Again, I don't know the context of this, but I think the fact that he's standing on business is what's important. You know, the cop is begging him. Okay, now you're gonna get the hell out of here, John. Now you can go watch it somewhere else. Since you want to be in this chat acting like some little raggedy, yeah. Gino, he has a mental illness. But anyways, yeah, this cop is standing on business. Good for him. I don't know if this is real per se because it sounds like acting to me. I'm not gonna lie, especially because he said pedo. But I don't know. Maybe they know they're like turning their body cam in, so they're like, you know what? Let me act real criminal justice. I don't know, DC Studios. I don't think he took his lithium today, so he was just sort of like feeling boisterous. But okay, last few minutes, and then we're gonna move on to the next case.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not going to do the test?
We will.
Okay, because we keep stopping. Okay, let's try another test.
Who is this?
One of my partners.
Who is it?
Not sure. Can't tell with the lights on. No, it's Officer Kitch. You're familiar with the walk and turn?
I am.
Okay. While I demonstrate the walk and turn for you, I want you to stand with your left foot in front of your right foot, okay? Left foot in front of your right foot, heel to toe, hands down by your side. Can you do that for me, sir?
You want left foot in front of the right?
Yes, sir. Hands down by your side. Okay. Attempt to hold that position while I demonstrate for you. You're going to take 9 heel to toe steps, counting out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll say that's 9. On your 9th step, without lifting your lead foot, you're going to pivot like so. And then you're going to take 9 heel to toe steps, counting each step out loud, back the way you came until you get to 9. Do you understand these instructions I've explained to you, Mr. French?
I believe so.
All right, anytime you're ready, you may begin.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Go ahead and turn around for me. Put your hands behind your.
It would be, but you know, I think at the end of the day, officers, people who work law enforcement, things like that, they have a duty to uphold the law, right? They have a duty to be an example to American citizens of, you know, integrity, honesty, you know, all of that. So I think when they are caught like this, it's just extremely bad because now people are like, well, the police don't even follow their own rules. So, or they don't even enforce the true rule of law or whatever on themselves, but they want to enforce it on us. You know, so I think this is an interesting one. Now it's a very short video, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. And if you're enjoying the show, do me a favor, right? Bless me with a like. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat right now. Okay, you guys keep me nice and entertained during these. I'm new here, just subscribe. I appreciate you, DC Studios. And Louis just reminding you guys to hit the like button. Good point. Yeah, because my thing is, how do you get to go outside, enforce law, have a very decent amount of immunity if you do make a mistake on the job, you know, but then expect to go home and be able to operate, you know, sort of above the law and make mistakes and commit crimes and not face consequences for it. So these tests are hilarious. By the time the cop gets halfway through the instructions, the drunk person has forgotten the first instruction. We do not have these in the UK. Well, so what do they do when they catch people drinking in the UK DC Studios? That would be my question. All right, so we're going to move on to the next video. Let me pull that one up. Now I'm going to say this. This police officer obviously would say that he fell through the cracks, right? Because if a pedo, right, if a Pedialyte can become a police officer, then the process of hiring, of vetting police officers is not fail-safe. Now, Sheriff Grady Judd, you're going to see him a few times in the next couple of videos because he gets on there. He gets on there and he gives us the information. This video is from May 29, when they discovered something extremely, extremely disturbing about a police officer. Now, DC Studio says they do breathalyzers. Conchanery says, bad cops, what you gonna do when they come for you? I'm just gonna say this. This next case is definitely gonna make you think twice about police and whether or not they have integrity. Now, it's not my intention to paint police officers to be all bad people, but if a police department can't vet a pedo, then whew.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I have a couple of issues to speak with you about. The one that we called you about, and we'll talk about that first, but we had a double traffic fatality, and some of you asked about that, so we'll present that information later. With me today is Acting Chief Walker from the Bartow Police Department. Their agency received information from men and women of the police department of inappropriate conduct by a police officer. I can tell you Acting Chief Walker is a professional in every sense of the word, and so were the people that came to him and his supervisors saying, hey, this just doesn't look right. They began looking into the event, and it appeared to them that this event happened outside the city of Bartow, so they did not have investigative jurisdiction. So they notified the sheriff's office. We work with the Bartow Police Department every day, and we're willing to work with them. What we determined is a Bartow police officer had created a relationship with 4 teenagers. They were white females. 2 of them were 18.
Now, I don't know if you guys heard that properly, but because it was cutting out. But a Bartow police officer created a relationship with 4 teenagers. Okay, they were alerted about inappropriate conduct by an officer. Okay, let's continue the video.
One of them was 17, and one of them was 16. And during this relationship, we found out that 3 of our victims went to Kathleen High School, 1 went to Auburndale High School. And he took them to his house in Lake Wells. And here's the police officer, Mark Anthony Fernandez. He's 24 years of age. He started his career at the Bartow Police Department, came to the sheriff's office for a short period of time, returned to the Bartow Police Department. And this investigation unfolded. Our detectives learned that he had a video clip that he was sharing, Snapchat video, with people at the police department, and they looked at it and say, hey, these girls look underage. Hey, one of these girls that was 18 was wearing a Bartow police jacket. Well, he was not only videoing these girls in different stages of undress at his apartment, but he was directing one of the juveniles to perform a sex act on the 18-year-old. And she did.
Now, I'm going to say this. This is shocking. So I'm sorry that I didn't provide a trigger warning. This is shocking. Okay, now, some people probably think, oh, they're older teenagers. It does not matter. An officer of the law has no business fraternizing, much less engaging in acts like this that are being recorded with teenage girls. Now, the fact that something like this isn't like front page news is really disturbing, right? This is why I seek out independent media on different platforms other than like the news on TV and things like that. Because how is there a police officer out here grooming teenagers, you know, basically using them like ex-workers? How is there a police officer doing that? And this isn't front page news. We're talking about P. Diddy or, you know, somebody who's not really, you know, relevant to our everyday lives. But to know that there is a police officer who was caught doing this, like, this is scary that a police department can't even vet a pedo or Pedialyte. Now, you guys just heard them say he groomed the younger girl to commit an act on the older child. Now, I don't know if that was a girl as well, but this is just incredibly, I mean, this is crazy. When I started hearing about this case, I could barely, it caught me off guard. Now, I do have a news article that talks about this as well, because the Polk Sheriff Office, they get into deep detail. I'm going to say that. They definitely do. He has 2 other videos similar to this where he's calling out people from police departments and things like that, that commit crimes, I guess, somewhere in his jurisdiction. And I mean, I'm going to say he's pretty badass. Like, he gets deep. He comes every time with a picture like that of the person who committed the crime. Okay, and this is just disturbing. Like, this happened in May of 2024. So this was less than 7 months ago. And I can promise you, 7 months ago, this was not front page news. So let's continue.
And it was recorded. And he shared it with police officers in Bartow. Then, as other videos came to light during our investigations, we had to find out who all the ladies were. We found that there was other incriminating evidence. He was providing them at this party he had at his house, and he picked them up and took them there. Marijuana gummies. That's right. Oh, you remember those marijuana gummies that are only supposed to be for medicinal purposes for people that are very sick? This police officer was providing them to a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, and 2 18-year-olds. Oh, did I tell you he was providing alcohol to them? So they were partying down, taking videos of them vaping.
So underage drinking, providing them drugs, recording and engaging in X acts, distributing. I mean, this is like a quadruple whammy. Like, he's scum, right? To be doing all of this. But how, if he's never been caught before, it's scary that a police department can hire someone like this and not know, especially if he's never been caught before. Now, I don't know if it was specifically the people who saw the videos and pictures of the girls and reported it as like, these girls look young. But my goodness, this was extremely disturbing. Now, I don't know if you guys know where Bartow is. Where is that? Because if not, I'm going to have to look it up. But they go by sheriff, so the sheriff and all that stuff, that doesn't give you an identifier of where it is. But there's others in his station involved. I bet, because I mean, if he's sitting there, this is why I say, like, sometimes it's good for us to look into stuff like this, right? Because just like any career field, right? Just like any job, any environment, there are going to be people there who will be willing to engage in corruption. I'm waiting to see your live again. I've missed you. Wow. I'm not going to read your name. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because I am live. I try to be live every other day. But if I'm not, I'm definitely going to be here on the weekend. There is a Bartow in Georgia. Okay, that makes sense, because the next one is actually a case in Georgia as well. Near Bakersfield. No, I'm definitely not going to. But let's continue.
Cannabis, eating THC gummies, and drinking alcohol, all of which is is illegal under the age of 21. In addition to that, he told one of the 18-year-olds and the 17-year-olds that he gets excited sexually from choking people. So he choked the 18-year-old unconscious. Did you hear what I said? He choked the 18-year-old unconscious. She said that she allowed him.
I like the sheriff. I like the sheriff because the sheriff is like genuinely disgusted. But yeah, that's disgusting. First of all, to be bringing this degeneracy to children, right? Like whatever weird kinks you have, whatever. I'm not going to judge people who do that. But you're bringing this to children, to young girls. You know what I mean? It's very disturbing. Something is very disturbing about him, right? That he has a fascination with seeing girls, young children that he's having intercourse with, passed out, suffocating. I mean, this is scary. To know that somebody like this, because they've never been caught, can be in your area's police department. Now, Crazy Paul, what does America First have to do with this? False allegation, did 6 days in jail, they never gave him my release paperwork. Oh, that's crazy. You should see a lawyer about that. You probably reduce some money if that's true.
To choke her. But he also choked the 17-year-old, and she said, I did not allow him to choke me, and he choked me so much that it scared me. So now we've got him having illicit sexual conduct with two children for his personal sexual gratification. He does that after he provides them THC gummies, alcohol, and then he has this recorded on his device and he's sharing it. So he's got a litany of criminal charges coming his way. And then, of course, there's...
And I love that, right? Because, again, possession of... when you record things like that, especially involving children, that's considered child porn. So there's charges of having it and distributing it. For the charges against you engaging with... I mean, this guy, hopefully he goes away. Right? Because there was a time where you could say that people who are these types of predators don't even get consequences, right? Sometimes they'll spend 60 days in jail, 6 months in jail. You know, but I'm seeing a deeper trend of, the type of charges that people who engage in these crimes are getting. And I think he should get more because he's a police officer, right? You're conducting yourself like a beast, like an animal. And you're a police officer. And there should be something to say about that, because you're supposed to have the integrity. You're supposed to be the standard. And how can everyday people feel like they need to live up to a standard if the police, there are police, and not all of them, but there are police officers who are engaging like this.
There's child-related victim crimes. So you can see the long list of criminal charges. He's currently in the county jail. He's refused to resign. So I will let Acting Chief Walker talk to you about what they are doing and their piece of this. But I compliment the chief and his staff for doing the right thing. They immediately began an investigation when they heard of it. And they ultimately turned it over to us when their investigation showed that it occurred outside the city limits of Bartow. Chief?
Thank you. Officer Fernandez was hired by the Bartow Police Department on 12/16 of 22 for the second time. As the sheriff said, we received information from one of our civilian employees that she had received a video. She had the ability to record the video from Snapchat and provide it to us. We had concerns about the content of the video. We attempted to identify the people in the video unsuccessfully. And that's when we got more information, heard that one of them might be as young as 15, might have gone to school in the Bartow area. So we tried to follow up on that.
Wow. That's crazy.
Unsuccessfully, nobody could identify her. On an unrelated trip to Officer Fernandez's house, we recognized the background as the background in the video. From that, because it was in Lake Wales, we reached out to Sheriff's Office for assistance, and then their investigation has found what it has found. He is on paid administrative leave right now, pending a pre-disciplinary hearing that's scheduled for Monday.
You said he was hired again in December 2022?
Yeah, he worked for us prior.
I mean, he shouldn't be getting paid. I mean, he shouldn't be getting paid at all. Go collect unemployment. Now, I don't know what, because there are police unions, but I don't know why he should be getting paid. Like, are criminals being able to use their sick time? Like, no. I just feel like if there's conclusive evidence of, I mean, that's annoying. If there's conclusive evidence that he is not only a criminal, but he's a criminal offender against children, he shouldn't even be a cop anymore. Refusing to resign or not. He shouldn't even be a cop. I mean, you shouldn't have that right when these types of things can be proven with, physical evidence. If he's getting paid, if he's found guilty, he should pay it back. I feel like he should owe. Like, I feel like it doesn't matter how much money he has, he should owe. I believe he won't be able to apply federal government jobs near the future. Well, he's definitely not going to be free. So, but let's hear a little bit more. This officer obviously is just sort of telling us what he's doing, but I'd like to know a little bit more about their investigation and what else they found out.
He worked for Bartow from September 21st, 2020 till October 22 of 21, and then went to the sheriff's office. He worked for the sheriff's office from October 25 of 21 to December of 22, and then came back to work for us.
Knowing that he worked for both of your agencies, I don't know if both of you want to speak or one would rather, just knowing that you entrust your officers, deputies, to protect the community, especially children or, young teens and adults in this case, how does it feel to have to respond to a situation like this with one of your own?
It's very disappointing. We do very in-depth background checks. They go through psychological screening just to try to make sure we're picking the right candidates. But obviously, nothing's perfect and people change. And it's very disappointing to see this happen. We all wear this.
Yeah, you can't vet people, right? People change. That's the biggest truth he said. Now, I do think that if somebody's doing this so callously, confidently sending these videos of children to other police officers and things like that, I do think this is probably a regular habit of his. So it's a little disturbing. For me, it's disturbing because it's possible that he's done this to many other people, which is usually the case with a lot of predators. So, all right.
Passion is a badge, it's a sign of public trust, and it's unfortunate when somebody violates that and puts that into question for the community. We really don't want that, and that's why we do a good job of policing our own. We try to hold them very accountable.
What was happening on Monday? I'm sorry, you said Monday was a hearing?
A pre-disciplinary hearing, yes, sir.
What is that? What is that?
It's a right for him to be heard, due process, to hear what he has to say prior to any discipline being rendered. Under Florida State Statute 112, the Police Officer Bill of Rights, he has some rights to that, and so we have to follow through with that.
Will it at that point be determined whether he'll remain on leave or be terminated?
Correct.
If the option is if the decision is to terminate him, will he be paid for the paid administrative leave, or will that be?
I'm sorry?
He's on paid administrative leave since February. If the decision is made to terminate him, is he owe that back, or is that affecting him?
No, it stays with him.
Sheriff, how did he meet these girls?
He met them online through social media. And he created a relationship with one of them, and they introduced another, and then they introduced another. They were all friends. And there was another event where they apparently went to a party in Frostproof. So we know of 2 events. We are still investigating the Frostproof party, but we know that he brought them specifically to his house in Lake Wells to give them mind-altering drugs and then to engage them in different sexual behavior. And in addition to that, they were in some state of undress, some totally, some partially, as it's described to me. But quite frankly, you ask, how does it make us feel? It makes me elated to arrest him and put him in jail. This guy is a bad guy. He fooled his way into the system. And then he acted like a fool and he got arrested. And
Okay, tell him, Sheriff. Tell him, Sheriff. And I love it, right? Because you're going to see his energy in a few other videos that we're going to watch, because he exposes a lot of police officers who, you know, are just sort of deviant, right? And they fall through the cracks. They slip in to a very sensitive system and they continue their degeneracy. And maybe that's the only way they would have ever been caught in the first place. What guy, Marco? I'm assuming Marco is talking about the police officer and the deputy behind him. Yeah, this sheriff is God saying, I believe so, right? His spirit and his energy says so, because he's literally like, this fool slipped through the cracks. And it is true. People change. Some people are good at fooling others. But imagine, these people could have gotten away with it. Maybe if they weren't even in law enforcement. What clown should be arrested? I don't get it. Jim Bob, you sound, I don't know what you're referencing. But anyways, let's continue.
I'm happy about that. And he was stupid enough to do it. Then he was really stupid to video it. Then he was really stupid to show it to his colleagues at work who said, time out. They're professionals. So you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, okay? And right now, he's locked up in the county jail. So his pre-dis can be why he's in jail. That is a protocol that the police department's required to go through that's provided. That's why he's not terminated today. But you can rest assured that the Bartow Police Department, once they complete their due process, and if their due process shows what our criminal investigation showed, that if he doesn't resign, he will be terminated. And in any event, all of this is going to be reported to the FDLE system that's in place to oversee all law enforcement officers in the state of Florida. This is a bad guy. He's a deviant, and he's there with children. I mean, did you hear what I said? A 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, two 18-year-olds.
Okay, Sheriff said he's a deviant, but the video's skipping a little bit, so I'm going to play
all law enforcement officers in the state of Florida. This is a bad guy. He's a deviant, and he's there with children. I mean, did you hear what I said? A 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, two 18-year-olds, and he's being stupid and crazy and out of control. Well, right now we have him in control in the jail.
Okay.
Have you spoken to the girls?
Okay, Sheriff.
So we're there.
Okay, Sheriff, tell him. He's not playing. But, you know, and I think someone asked, well, he says the state of Florida should be the whole world. Now, he can only represent where he's from, right? He's going to continue to talk about people who are guilty of crimes, but he finds other officers and, you know, presents cases about them being guilty of crime. So he's not a stranger to holding police accountable. I honestly think this man has a lot of integrity. He obviously takes it seriously. The guy in the back is just like, oh yeah, I'm just here. But I also investigate regardless of if it's a police officer. So I think, you know, that's the thing. There's really, really, really bad apples. And then there's some apples out there that are golden, right? They're in the inside, they're full of life and juice. So it's really difficult sometimes for people to understand But it is what it is. There's going to be really, really bad. There's going to be really, really good. And that's what it seems like the police departments tend to fall. Now, I know with sheriff's office and things like that, the boundaries are a little bit different. So anyways, let's continue. He's going to continue to expose this Bartow Police Department officer. And then we're going to move on to the next one. Now, I do want to read some of the investigation, the press release on this guy, because it gives us some more information about the predator and what he ends up being charged with. So let's finish this video. We'll read that article, and then I'll get you guys on to the next video.
The investigation's underway, and those kind of conversations we don't share publicly.
Do you think there could be more young women or teens that potentially had some sort of interaction with him?
We have no investigative information at this time, but if there are other young ladies, teenagers that may have had an inappropriate interaction with him, we absolutely, totally want to know about it, because there is nothing warm my heart more than to add more criminal charges to him.
And they were all high school students, correct? Or?
They either were attending high school or had attended high school. Some of them had dropped out. The three of them went to Kathleen High School. One of them attended Auburndale High School. But as I understand, some of them had dropped out, but that was their last school of attendance.
Do you know about how long he knew them for?
No, it obviously, that is part of the investigation, but it started out with him chatting with one online. I think Snapchat's how they began.
When did that begin?
It was, do you know, Chief, it actually started before we were into it.
I do not know the information on that.
No.
And Chief, did you say that the first video discovered was sent on Snapchat to a civilian member of the department?
One of our crime scene techs, a female.
Did he say anything? Has he said anything at all?
He said he needed a lawyer. We agreed with him. He needs a real good one, because, you know, the lawyer can watch and wave goodbye as we load him up, send him to prison one day, because that's our goal if he's convicted.
Sheriff, you said that you didn't think that they were necessarily different victims, but you did mention the second incident in Cross Creek.
Yeah, he has such a lot of sass. I love it. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Now, he's in, I think it might be the next one. I'm going to pull up the article. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time watching his particular video, but here's the article. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys. And just so you guys know, I'm looking at my TV screen, so that's why I'm looking over here. So I apologize if I'm staring. But it should be big enough, well, at least for me to read, but you guys can see this is the press release. So it says, welcome to the Polk County Sheriff's Office newsroom, where the public information officers post all of the information they release to the news media. All right, so let's look at this. Barstow police officer arrested by PCSO for improper conduct with teenage girls involving alcohol, THC, in a video recording involving nudity. Very, very disturbing. He was arrested on May 8th, 2024 was requested by Bartow. Oh, okay. So pretty much somebody told them, hey, you guys need to look into this officer here. He was having some inappropriate relationships with teenagers, sending people videos, and the girls looked very young. It was scary. And so the police looked into it, and, obviously they came to find that he was involved in some very inappropriate conduct. Now, the man's name is Mark Anthony Fernandez. He's 24 years old, and he was officially charged on Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, and he was sent to the Polk County Jail with 4 felonies and 6 misdemeanors. That's what I said. They have him stacked for charges, because not only did he produce content, he distributed it, he was involved with minors, he was involved with telling a minor to do an act on camera. It was just so many charges. So let's see. For events that occurred during the weekend of February 3rd, 2024, events that Fernandez recorded on video and sent to fellow officers. Now, he sent videos of young girls. Do these officers regularly send each other content like this? Like, this seems also something that they should be concerned about. There are some bad apples, but the main problem with society today is children not being taught respect for law enforcement. I think we have a lot of problems. That may be one of them for some people, but we have a lot of problems. So we're going to stay focused on this Pedialyte that was able to become a police officer. Mark Anthony has embarrassed his community, police department, and law enforcement officers everywhere, and that's a fact. Right? When someone who holds such a title, right, where you're enacting or where you're enforcing the law, when one of them commits such an egregious act like this, it is an embarrassment, right? It's an embarrassment that somebody could take on this type of role and, be okay with still breaking the law and particularly shaming police officers everywhere, right? Because the police exist to get rid of these type of people. They don't exist to be them. In contrast, his fellow officers at Bartow Police Department did the right thing by reporting his conduct. Mark Anthony must never wear a badge again. And that's from Brady Judd. That's the sheriff that we're watching right now. The investigation identified 4 females involved with the incident in February. 2 were 18-year-olds. The other 2 were victims. The other 2 victims were 17 and 16. Fernandez recorded several videos. One video showed one of the 18-year-old girls wearing a Bartow PD jacket while a 17-year-old committed a SA act on the 18-year-old at the urging of Fernandez. Several of the videos showed the victims this is so terrible. Fernandez provided all 4 with alcohol, THC vape pens, and THC gummies. I mean, this is just, he's a sicko. So let's look at all the charges he got. I told you guys he was going to get a whole stack of charges because of just all the degeneracy he was involved in. Is it Florida or Florida Bella? It's Florida Bella. So there's an A in between the second name that you put over there. So he got promotion of a juvenile in an SA act, use of a juvenile in a SA act, battery by strangulation, illegal use of a two-way communication device, i.e. producing and distributing materials involving children, contributing to delinquency of a minor because he gave him alcohol, providing alcoholic beverages to a person under age of 21. So I'm hoping these carry very, very hefty charges. But that's a significant amount of charges. Now, I don't know what that verbiage, what kind of sentencing that verbiage carries in this state. Fernandez has been on administrative leave since February, and his employment with Bartow PD is pending termination based on his arrest. So I don't know if this has been updated, but yeah, this was their press release. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more, but just a very, very, very disturbing set of charges. Now let's hear a little bit more from Sheriff Judd, and then we'll move on to the next story.
We know they supposedly went to a party in Frostproof, so we're seeking any information there, and we will certainly be willing to make the appropriate charges if we can develop the evidence from that party. So yes, we'd like to know about that as well.
Sheriff, one last, maybe you mentioned this. There's a line in this news release about him going into a bedroom at his residence where the 16-year-old was, began to touch her and choke her. Yes,
I mentioned that when he choked her, and he admitted that he got sexual gratification by choking people. He choked the 18-year-old unconscious, and he obtained sexual gratification from that. And he also choked the other child who is still a juvenile under the age of 18. And yes, he inappropriately touched them. So,
Was there any other disciplinary actions or anything that was out of the ordinary with him before this came up?
I can tell you he was involved in a officer-involved shooting that was totally legitimate. A man had robbed a place with a firearm.
Hold on, guys. I found another article. It's updated a month after. It says detectives from the PCSO became aware of a comment on Facebook post about the arrest of 24-year-old Mark Anthony Fernandez, which indicated that the commenter may also have been a victim of Fernandez. The commenter was contacted by the detectives, and she agreed to speak about an encounter she had with Fernandez back in July of 2023. This is sick. And the sad part is these people always have other victims. Always. Aggravated stalking, essay by physical force. I hope he stays in jail. Like, this is very, very, very disturbing. So he's a repeat offender, obviously. And honestly, I'm really glad that the police caught on to him. And I wonder if he wasn't an officer of the law, if they would have ever caught on to him. You know, that's the really, really sad part. This is a warning to people who own what? What are you talking about, Dank Bomb? Let me get you out of here. That'll be so weird in the chat. Very, 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 very disturbing set of charges that he just is racking on here. So when people get on, you know, when professionals and educators and people who are in education get on and they tell us, hey, these types of offenders are repeat offenders. They do this a lot. They have prior victims. They're not joking, right? They're not just saying that to try and typecast predators. No, they are almost always repeat offenders. They have high recidivism rates, right? Recidivism refers to the ability of a predator to be rehabilitated, right? Do they get out of jail and commit the same crimes? Unfortunately, they're not able to get rehabilitation in this type of, I'm not going to call it disease because, hey, it's a choice. But, you know, these deviants, they have a very, very high recidivism rate. They return to criminality. They return to that particular crime significantly. So let's continue this video. It's about 4 minutes left, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. Right, this one is making me a little just very disturbed. So,
in pursuit of the guy, when Bartow Police was called to assist us in that investigation, and they located him, and the guy pulled a gun on them, and he and his partner shot and ultimately killed the guy who had just committed the robbery with a firearm. But as far as disciplinary action, I'm not sure of any disciplinary action at this time. But obviously, that will be part of the follow-up investigation, and y'all may find an interest in that to see if there has been other disciplinary action. But obviously, if there was disciplinary action that had anything to do with children, kids, drinking, that we would have that today. But it's unbelievable. You give polygraphs, you give psychologicals, you do background investigations, and still every now and then someone slips through the system. And what's important to point out, there's no other industry that gives polygraphs and psychological but law enforcement. So when you see that he got through the system, yeah, he did with this craziness that he did. But when you go to your doctor, to your dentist, put your kids in school, with other jobs of trust, your pharmacist, they don't stand up to psychologicals and polygraphs. So you just don't know what you don't know. But what we know about this guy, he's a bad guy. He's a sexual deviant. And he wanted to focus on young girls. And we have locked.
Yeah. You know, I definitely think the polygraphs are not, and they never will be. The science is just not there. But, you know, he's right. all these things that we think are vetting tools that we still use, police departments, other law enforcement agencies, they still rely on those types of testings. They can't vet this. You can't vet this. Somebody can be a deviant and fly, past all the, just really disturbing. It's not that they can pretend to be good people well enough to pass through, right? To be in these sensitive roles. But he's right. And in every other facet of society where people work, where people are entrusted with sensitive roles, working with children, working with other vulnerable populations, there isn't even the level of vetting that they have. There's even less vetting. So it's really sick. It tells us a story about the world. So let's continue.
Him up in jail where he needs to be. Okay?
Semi-crash.
This is a horrible event. Happened at 8 o'clock this morning on Highway 37 at the Fort Greene Mine Road, which is south of Mulberry, way out in the countryside.
So that's something unrelated. You guys heard him in the beginning. He said he was going to also talk about a crash that they had in Polk County. So that's that. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. This next case is of 3 Polk County deputies who were arrested for witness tampering. So we're back with Sheriff Judd, and he's going to talk about these deputies. Like I told you guys, he believes in justice, and sometimes he's the guy who hands it to other police officers. So let's get into it.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. On the first day of employment at the sheriff's office, and we hire once a month, I meet with the men and women, and I said, I expect you to be honest, ethical, and moral all the time. I expect you to treat people like you'd want your mother treated. And if you do that, you'll have a wonderful career here. And then I go on to explain that, if you work for a fast food restaurant and they catch you sliding pizzas out the back door to their friends, they will terminate your employment and run you off. But there's a difference. If we find you violating the law at the sheriff's office, we will also terminate your employment, but we will lock you up in the county jail. We're held to a higher standard. You can't police a community if you don't hold yourself to a higher standard than you expect of the people from the community. Then I look at them and I say, do you understand what I said? And I have them all say, yes, sir, I understand. These folks forgot. They forgot what they were taught. They obviously didn't pay any attention to my warning. And as a result, we locked these 3 deputies up on Friday night.
And let me just say this. He's throwing also major shade at other police departments, right? Because they also sometimes catch officers engaging in misconduct. And instead of charging them, they'll simply release them, right? They'll say, hey, you can go, you can get out of, you can get out of this position. We don't want you here. You can't work for us. If another police department takes you, okay, but we're not going to press charges. But he says, you know what? Yeah, go ahead. We'll catch you engaging in misconduct. We'll fire you, but you're also going to jail, right? And that is shade because there is a lot of law enforcement officers who are protected. They're allowed to get away with some things that are minor violations, but they're still violations. And that's why a lot of people have bitter feelings about the police. So I appreciate what he's doing here. Let's get into these, these 3 deviants. Or, you know what? I'm not going to call them deviants yet because they're witness tampering or evidence tampering, but I don't know what for. So let's watch this really quickly.
And here's how it started. These 3 folks were on our crime suppression team. We were receiving complaints and actually fears of gang activity and narcotics activity in a community, and they were sent there to try to keep the community safe, stop the narcotics dealing, and as a result, break up the gang activity. While patrolling in the Winter Haven or the Central District area, they came upon a suspect who ran a red light, John Rosinski, who has been with us for about 3.5 years, stopped the vehicle. He was backed up by Jamal Lawson and Garrett Cook. When they stopped, they asked for permission to search the vehicle, which was denied, which is traditionally what our suspects do. We called a canine. The canine did a search and alerted to drugs. They searched the vehicle and they found in the trunk of the vehicle marijuana and alprazolam, controlled substances. So they arrested the suspect. And in the suspect's pocket, it was a female. She had more marijuana in small quantities and $723. When they wrote in their affidavit to put her in jail, and John Rosinski was the arresting deputy, they wrote that they seized a large quantity of cash. So they wrote it in the arrest affidavit, and they also wrote it in their initial report. So this was on the 21st of December. They take the suspect to jail. They have a day off. They come back to work on the 23rd of December, where John writes his report and he processes evidence, and he puts several pieces of evidence into property and evidence. But they don't put any cash, any money into property and evidence. What the three of them talk about on the 23rd is, uh-oh, the money's missing. They counted it. All three of them at some point in time counted the money and determined it was $723. And then I'll fast forward to the investigation. Rosinski said Lawson had the money. Lawson said he didn't have the money. Rosinski had the money, and Garrett Cook said, I never had the money, but they all admitted counting the money. So they decided on the 23rd of December, we've really got a problem here. We're missing money. We've lost the $723. They decided at that point what they would do is they would all kick in and replace the money, which is inappropriate, by the way. But they never did. And they did not go to their supervisor and say, we lost the money. So time goes on. Rosinski even has a conversation and says, you know, I'm afraid before this is over with, I'm going to get arrested for theft. So they still do nothing. Now let's advance into March, when our suspect's felony charges are reduced to misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Once that happens, our suspect calls property and evidence and said, hey, I'd like to have my cell phone and my money back. She said it was somewhere under $730. She didn't know exactly how much. Property and evidence refers her back to the district and to the supervisors where the event occurred. She calls and talks to what we call the RID, Regional Intake Detective. That detective was filling in actually for the RID detective, and she said, look, I would like my money back. So he looks, he pulls up the reports, and he says, we'll get back to you. He calls Rosinski and says, I don't see any money here. Rosinski gets panicked. Rosinski starts talking to his buddies, and I'm giving you the 30,000 foot view because and you can see in the press release, they have different versions of this conversation. In the meantime, Rosinski also calls down to P&E, property and evidence. The property and evidence lady goes, no, there's no mention of any money in any of that property and evidence that was seized and ultimately we have. But the property and evidence lady went forward and searched all around to see if maybe a piece of evidence got logged by mistake under the wrong case number, and she found none. And then Rosinski says, when he called the lady at P&E, he said, call me back on your personal cell phone. So they had this conversation, and he said, did anybody hear you talking to me? Just forget this conversation occurred. She hangs the phone up and she says to herself, that doesn't sound right. So she goes to her sergeant. Her sergeant goes to Rosinski's sergeant. Rosinski's sergeant calls him in and goes, what is this all about? The money. Don't worry about it, Sarge. We got it covered. I'm writing a supplement report. And the sergeant says, stop. I don't know what you're talking about, but stop what you're doing. Everybody did what was right when it came to their attention by our suspect, who is now the victim of a theft. But these three folks. So our Rosinski sergeant gets with his supervision. We start a criminal investigation immediately.
Yeah, and you know what, Gerard? It is the principle. Even if it was $50, right? Why are you guys risking your careers and really your livelihood for $700? Someone said a couple seconds ago, I thought it was going to be $10K. Even like to me, the fact that it's a lesser amount of money is even more disturbing, right? You would do it for a measly, you would throw away your career, your livelihood, all of that for a measly $730. I mean, that's crazy. At least I'll be able to understand if it were a couple of thou, but you guys split $700. That's what you threw away your integrity for. That's cheap. Very, very cheap. Some people will do it for that's what I said. Some people will do it for $50. Hands Pryor says I'm a cop and that was stupid. Yeah, I mean $700 if they split between could they even buy groceries? Could each of them even buy groceries with their portion if they split it? It's a nice, or maybe that third cop didn't actually split it. It's crazy. It's a nice change seeing cops investigating themselves and finding something wrong. I'm telling you, accountability for police has sparked something in some officers, right? Some officers want to prove, hey, we're not all scumbags. Some of us have integrity. And that's true across the board, right? For every career field. That's why he said we actually vet in the best way we can more than most other jobs. And he slipped through our cracks. So imagine everywhere else. Police won't be around the next 2 years. It'll be military police moving forward. I don't agree with that. I think you guys like to fearmonger. Like just like people, I'm not even addressing. You should see a video of 2 officers stealing property from a wealthy lady. Wow, you gotta email that to my my YouTube email. It's in my bio. People have been sending me recommends and videos. I really appreciate it. Now somebody sent me a recommend about some little girls, and I'm working on this story because you guys know when it comes to putting out the information about the more sensitive cases, YouTube tends to really censor how we can share those stories. So no, it's not that, Christopher. Don't worry. It's just like certain things, like you guys can talk about it, but if I highlight it in the show and stuff like that, it will get my chat taken out and stuff. So exercise and drink lots of water, Chris, and potassium is supposed to help too. Oh yeah, potassium will definitely help for that. It'll replenish those vitamins that you need. Whatever happens in the darkness will always come to light. Yeah, you know, and I honestly think some of these officers, they were even discovered just because of their role. Otherwise, they would have been all right with it. or not all rights, they would have continued to go on. Like there would be no accountability. You don't want military policing because they don't have a clue of any local law. Yeah, it's very different, but let's continue.
Immediately. This all happens from last Monday. Last Monday's when the lady made the initial request for her money back. We do an investigation, and our detectives and supervisors are simply the very best, did what they were supposed to do. When they saw something that wasn't right, they immediately investigated. And within 5 days of this being first brought to our attention and us sorting through and talking to the supervisors and the P&E and complete an investigation, on Friday night, we locked all 3 of these deputies up. Now, I can tell you I've been with the sheriff's office my entire adult life. And from memory, I can only remember 2 other occasions in almost 50 years where we've arrested more than 1 deputy at a time. And that was, both of those occasions were back in the 1970s. This is the first time ever that we criminally charge 3 deputies.
So it looks like, yeah, it was 3 years ago, but it looks like one of the deputies, that's because this is what I saw earlier. It looks like one of them, the charges were dropped against him, and I guess he must have split. So 2 of them split $700 then. Yep, 2 of them split $700 because how else did one of them get? Someone said we need a sheriff like this in every county. No, that's a fact. But yeah, it was, so one of them wasn't involved in it. So the 2, they stole the money, basically threw their lives away. And one of them, because he was involved and he didn't speak up, yeah, he got involved. He got in trouble, or maybe he lost his job, but he didn't get in trouble for it. All right, so I'm going to move on because that's all. I don't want to watch too much of Mr. Judd so that we can see him again and be excited. All right. Now, this next one really, really made me upset. Okay, it's going to make some of you guys upset. And again, I want to give you guys a trigger warning because that's not my meaning. I'm not trying to, enrage people on the internet. But this case was, this body camera footage is very disturbing, right? Because the innocent person is targeted by police officers for whatever reason, and he's actually a very vulnerable person. So let's get into this about 7 minutes. This is about an encounter that a man had with the police.
Let me see your ass. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground right here. Get on the ground. You, burgundy shirt, get on the ground. Over here. On the ground. On the ground. Get on the ground. Do you not listen? Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
This is Officer David Lance Dukes, and yes, that is his real name, with his service weapon already drawn on a random bystander and the alleged suspect while responding to a 911 call that accused the man in the burgundy shirt, who just got stomped on, of trying to get into one of these homes while armed with a firearm himself.
There's a gun behind me. There's a gun, I believe, behind me.
I ain't got no gun now.
Put your hands behind your back. Is there a gun back there?
Ain't no gun.
By that truck.
Ain't no gun.
We then hear another.
Now, this is why I'm sharing this video, because the other officers involved in this case said no, there was no gun, right? So the reason why he started running and telling the guy to get down was 100% bias. He had no reason to be approaching this elderly man like that. I'm going to put this back a little bit more so you guys can see what he did to the man as soon as he got near him. Okay? So I'm going to put this back.
Get on the ground right here. Get on the ground. You, burgundy shirt, get on the ground. Over here. On the ground. On the ground. Get on the ground. Do you not listen? Get on the ground. Get on the ground!
This is Officer David Lance Dukes, and yes, that is his real name, with his service weapon already drawn on a random bystander, and the alleged suspect, while responding to a 911 call that accused the man in the burgundy shirt, who just got stomped on, of trying to get into one of these homes while armed with a firearm himself.
There's a gun behind me. There's a gun, I believe, behind me.
I ain't got no gun now.
Put your hands behind your back. Is there a gun back there?
Ain't no gun.
By that truck.
Ain't no gun.
We then hear another officer, as well as the suspect, Clarence Gaillard, both say that there was no firearm around in the first place, something to keep in mind.
You're not listening, dude.
This is what Officer Dukes is referring to, stomping on Gaillard's head to force him into the pavement while he was already complying and posing no threat to Dukes. Gaillard apparently...
So this is the hypocrisy, right, that people feel. Why would you tell people to comply, and then when you're dealing with a suspect, right, who's complying, you use even more force, right? And this is why I said some people who do things like this, they just want to be able to enact power over certain people. If this guy was a bystander, he wasn't even involved in whatever was happening here, then he shouldn't have been being told to get on the ground. Yep, John, you got it. Let's continue.
Wasn't moving fast enough to Dukes' liking, even though he was moving as fast as he could, since he has a surgical rod and pins through his leg, knee, and hip from a previous car accident, just making Dukes' brutality that much more egregious.
Bro, you got a gun on you, man?
No, I ain't got no gun. I don't want no gun.
He had something.
I ain't want no gun.
The door's unlocked. The car, so.
No, he was right here. Watch him. Go watch him. There it is.
I don't want no gun.
All right, that's what he had.
The alleged firearm just turned out to be a small baton wrapped in duct tape Gaillard uses to protect himself from stray dog attacks in the area. It's also important to note at this point that the original 911 caller, a relative of Gaillard's, later told police that she never saw Gaillard with a firearm.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right.
Yep.
Listen.
Yep, they slammed my head down on the cement. Yep.
Go back inside. Go back in the house. Go back in the house. Ain't nobody talking to you.
I got head drummer.
Go back in the house.
Yep. Y'all bust my head down. Yeah, I've been in an accident. Yep. Y'all bust my head down. You threw me down.
I sure did. You wasn't listening.
Yep. No, it ain't. You ain't to throw me down like that. I'm disability.
Okay.
I got head problem. Yep. You threw me down.
Wow. You wasn't listening. And this is what be pissing people off. You're not nobody's parent, right? Your authority comes from the people to protect the people. So you don't get to come and say, oh, you didn't listen. Now it's one thing to say, oh, you didn't comply with my orders, right? But his callousness shows his lack of respect for the people he's supposed to be protecting and serving. Now, I will say this guy was probably just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that does not mean he needed to be monkey stomped in the head. I mean, somebody said he's acting like Rambo. Yeah. I mean, he came out like guns blazing. You don't need to be doing all of this, especially not for an older, elderly person. Doesn't matter what biases you have towards races. You need to recognize if you're dealing with an older person because they are vulnerable. And like they said, he had a rod and other screws in his back. Imagine if he had did some damage physically to this old man. Now let's see what happens and how the police officer is going to be approached by the other people on the scene. Because you heard him say there wasn't no gun. He started trying to act like he did all that Rambo crap because the guy in question had a weapon or he had a gun per se.
Yep. You threw me down. You threw me down. Yep, you bust my head down on the cement. Bust my head down on the cement.
He was in front of the car when I came up. And he was walking like this. And I thought it was a gun at first. I said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. I had him at gunpoint. And he's over here doing something like this.
You slam my head. You slam my
What
head
he was doing
down
is putting
on
this up behind the tire. So he comes over right here. He got his hands in his pockets. I'm telling him, let me see your hands, let me see your hands, let me see your
Why you
hands.
bust my head then?
He wasn't listening.
No, it ain't.
He got the...
That's a lie. We watched him. So he's lying. We watched him run and say, get down on the ground, get down on the ground. The guy said, I'm not part of this, I'm not part of this. They said, get down on the ground, get down on the ground. He was already on the ground, and the cop came over, jabbed his knee into him, and we just watched it. Lies. And he, LOL, he paused and did proceed to follow your orders. Exactly. He might have been protesting, like talking, but he was on the ground. He didn't try to run, nothing. You don't get to use extra force just because you're feeling like Rambo, right? That person has rights. And if they're complying with your orders, you don't have a right to be digging your knee or monkey stomping them in the head. It's ridiculous.
Like this right here, and we went onto the ground. That's what.
It's not surprising at all. Dukes lied to his colleagues about stomping on Gaillard's head and changed his story to paint Gaillard as the aggressor, thus justifying his brutality.
There ain't nothing over here on the first charges.
Who called?
I'm not sure.
Take him out of cuffs right now. I mean, because that's what we got.
You have to use it for us.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Slam my head down.
Dude, I didn't know what his intention was.
For us. You need to have a look at the camera.
All right.
The officer did wrong. Slam my head down. Bust my forehead.
Mayor, I'm going to take that in the evidence of what he had.
What?
Well, I mean, his, you know, that's the reasons I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from.
No gun or nothing.
Because when he was behind the truck, I couldn't see what he was doing. And I didn't know where
Ain't nothing there.
where that went. If it was still in his pockets when he come around that car with his hands in his pockets.
These dogs on.
No, on camera.
Yeah, my dogs.
The look on Sergeant Mayer's face when asked about putting the stick into evidence is a dead giveaway that Duke seems to be on his own and isn't getting the help he's fishing for. Most likely because Mayer and the other officers on the scene know that Duke's misconduct is all on camera.
Officer slammed my forehead down in the cement. He was wrong for that.
Consciousness?
Yeah. Listen.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one now. We don't have one. They don't give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
Let me see if I can get my phone.
Hold on, we have cards.
So she went ahead very quick and corrected that. I don't know why my video is sticky.
I don't have one now. We don't have one. They don't give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
Let me see if I can get my phone.
Hold on, we have cards. Okay. Thank you.
Sergeant Aquele Polidor deserves a shout out not only.
And let me just tell you something. This level of being willing to check your officers, look how she's looking at him. She said, you have the audacity to jump out here like Rambo and then think that I'm not going to tell this man that you have a card. You're going to lie and say you don't have a card, but give him your badge number? No. Yes, we do have cards. Now, hear what she's going to do, okay? This is why I said, I like the videos like this of cops checking each other. It's absolutely their job, right? We shouldn't have to jump in and advocate for police officers to be held accountable. It should be other officers willing to speak up, right? So, yes, she is honorable. And that death stare that she's giving him right there, okay, that tells you exactly how she feels about his level of misconduct. So let me go. Okay, we're on this one. So we got a few more after this, but let me play the rest of this video.
Not only for the death stare she gave Dukes when he tried to dodge identifying himself, but for playing a key role in bringing Dukes to justice for what he subjected Gaillard to. Polidor reportedly did some actual police work by de-escalating the sitch and working with Gaillard and the other man to sort out medical attention and get their side of the story. In her official report, Polidor blasted Dukes and Mayer's handling of the reports, calling out Dukes for lying about his use of force report and the disrespect he directed towards Polidor for not lying on her report on his behalf, as is what is expected apparently from fellow law enforcement. Clarence Gaillard was awarded $650,000 after settling his suit against the city of Orangeburg, but that sum won't be paid out by Dukes himself or the department, but rather through the city's insurance carrier, which is sadly expected, but something that must change if we ever want to hold law enforcement truly accountable. Local outlet WCBD reported that Dukes was surprisingly fired immediately following the investigation.
And hear that, surprisingly fired. Now, I just want to say, shout out to this individual for being compensated. You know, that the fact that he's an older gentleman, he went through something like that. The money is not going to change that experience, that feeling he had that day as he lay on the ground. You know, so I do think, whether it's us or not, it is good that he got financial compensation. And especially that it was recognized and that he was fired. The fact that they held the police accountable, the officer accountable that did this, that's the most important part about this case here. So anyways, let's move on to the next one. Let me get this off the screen, get off this one. And I'm going to move on to the next case. Now, this is the case of another Georgia police officer being arrested by the police, and he is a deviant. Let's see. Let me see right here. Sorry, guys. The old man Beater should be in jail. Let's keep it going. Yes. Let me just share the next video, guys. Let me just share the next video. Okay. Now we're back in front of our favorite Sheriff Josh, not Josh, Sheriff Judd. I thought he had a first and second name, but anyways, he's going to expose a Georgia deputy police chief for engaging in some raunchy behavior.
Thank you, everyone, for being here with me today. I'm going to talk briefly about an op that we're going to do a press conference on this next Friday morning. So y'all stay tuned for more news on Friday morning. But this obviously became big news in Cartersville, Georgia, at the police department, and the information quickly leaked out. And so now all the news media is asking for this information. So you're getting an early preview of what's going to be a very interesting release of information on a human trafficking operation. As you know, we seek out the victims of human trafficking. And in order to do that, you do prostitution stings. Well, when you do these operations, as this one was hugely successful, we'll talk about Friday, you arrest Johns who are seeking out prostitutes as well. Well, let me introduce you to what I consider a high-profile arrest. This is Deputy Chief Jason DePrima of the Cartersville Police Department. As I understand it, after talking to his chief, he's been there almost 30 years, graduate of the FBI Academy, well-respected police officer in town. Did you notice I said in town? But he was out of town. That's right, he was at an American Polygraph Association meeting in Orlando, Florida. Let me say this clearly. I don't want you to miss it. Driving an unmarked vehicle that was normally assigned to the DEA task force, meaning their officer assigned to the task force would have driven this vehicle. But apparently his vehicle was not so good to make the trip, so he's in one of the undercover vehicles. When he shows up at our undercover operation in the government vehicle,
wow,
carrying alcoholic
wow, that's a major L.
beverages, apparently some Bud Light for himself and White Claw for our undercover operative. That's right. He bought a case of White Claw because she said she would like it. So ostensibly, this guy has come to have sex with a prostitute while driving the Cartersville Police Department undercover vehicle. And he was in possession of alcohol, which of course, had we not intervened, he was going to drink that, engage in sexual conduct, and ultimately get in his government vehicle and drive back to his hotel. But newsflash, this is Jason DePrima, 49 years of age, his picture at the Polk County Jail. That's right, and let me tell you the story as he relates it to us. He is texting with, guess what, our undercover detective. He started this conversation with her on Wednesday.
And you know, this is just poetic justice, right? That you are a police chief and you fall for a sting of another police department because you're a deviant. Poetic justice. Exactly what needed to happen. Again, one of those things that we wouldn't even know happened were he not a police officer, right? Let's continue.
Wednesday night, where he was going to show up, he became spooked.
She says,
he didn't say why, but on Thursday night, he just couldn't resist the urge to be with our undercover detective, who he thought was a high-class prostitute. So he once again began to communicate. He asked how much the price is. She said $80, or a full half hour, $120.
$80.
I'm in.
I'm not going to say anything.
So he comes to the house. Ultimately, he's arrested. But the conversation is very interesting. He told her before the takedown occurred that the night before he had engaged with another prostitute online for $200. And that prostitute said, hey, go get a Cash App card. You know, you can buy them at the convenience stores. And he did for $200. And then she said, I want you to take a photograph of it so I know you've got the money. Well, duh. He took a photograph and sent it to the alleged prostitute on Wednesday night, according to him. You're not going to believe this. You can't even believe this. Now, this guy's a cop, and he was flim-flammed and conned by a prostitute. That's right. She took the information off of the card, got the $200, and left him high and dry. He was ripped off in a confidence scam with a prostitute, or who was alleged to be a prostitute. So that was on Wednesday. Then he talks. He's not giving up. Then he talks, and Thursday night at just before midnight, he shows up. He shows up with this White Claw, and it's like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What is going on? You're a deputy chief, a high-ranking official in a very respected police department, and you're showing up with White Claw and 2 Bud Lights and we're not sure whether he can do math or not, okay? Because the deal is for $120 for a half hour, a full half hour. He shows up with $180. He shows up with $180 and says, I can send you the rest of it on a Cash App, but I had to stop to buy the White Claw. So for some reason, I don't know if he's planning on extra time, he can't add, he wants to leave a tip, he wants to impress this person. But listen to his text. He's real suspicious.
You know what I like about this sheriff? Not only is he calling him out, but he's clowning him too. He said, this is a police officer, a genius, right? Getting conned by a prostitute for $200. You don't even get the goods before you pay. That's what I like about it too, right? Definitely clown him. Man said, leave a tip, right? Yeah, like it's a hair appointment, right?
Suspicious. I guess you would be after you got ripped off the night before. Listen to his text. If you're legit as you seem, we will have fun. If not, I'm riding around with a case of White Claw, feeling girly. Well, he got to feel arresty when we put him in jail. So we put him in jail late on Thursday night under a $500.
Okay, Sheriff, now you're just being a cornball. He said you got to feel arresty. Oh, he busts so many trafficking crimes. He always puts any dirty cops he catches up on public display. Yeah, he's so funny, but that was the corniest thing ever. He's like, you ain't feeling nothing but arrested. He could have got himself a oh boy.
Bond. He didn't get out of jail until Saturday morning at 4 o'clock. So he got to spend, almost 2 complete nights in the county jail. So now he's gone from deputy police chief. As I understand, he's suspended pending their disciplinary actions, and he's facing criminal charges here in Polk County. So if all else fails, he can write a book, How to Ruin Your Career in 3 Easy Steps. Start out by going to Florida to a polygraph association school. Then lie to the detectives when they investigate and ask you questions. Oh, he made admissions. But it's like, I wanted to ask him, since he's a polygrapher and was at polygraph school, would you like to take a polygraph with those answers you gave us? How would that work for you? And according to all the information
this officer is funny. He's funny. I like that he's calling him out and all of that. So yeah, he's facing charges. I think it's interesting that regardless of whatever crimes they commit, they're still able to get some type of disciplinary action just within their police departments. But obviously, if they're facing charges, they're not going to keep their job. But still, the fact that they're entitled to that, even regardless of what they've done, it is very disturbing. Grady, let him cook. Grady's funny. All right, we've been here for an hour and a half. It's 7:20. I don't know why I'm so tired. Probably because I got to be up at the ass crack of dawn. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one is on Sheriff Kochi. Now, this is a Massachusetts state trooper. Was this the one that I thought I was playing before? Yeah, this is the one that I thought was about the casino one. And, this is the one that I thought the last one was about. This is actually the one about the guy at the casino. He's over there. He does some weird stuff. You're recording. It was written, go stop being a jackass. Like, you guys just act like such idiots. If you can't hear me, say you can't hear me. Otherwise, like, seriously, just ridiculous. All right, let's continue. I'm going to play the next video. Make sure you guys check out Sheriff Grady. He is hilarious. Not even kidding. He's so funny. Not only that, but he is a, he's a lover of justice. Let me see. He is a, why are y'all saying I'm muted when I can hear myself talking? All right, stop playing in here. I'm gonna get you out of the chat.
How you doing, Sheriff? Good, very good. Good. Hi, Lieutenant Corey Mackey. What's that? Who's busting what? They changed his tire. Okay, just to let you know, we came down to this. Yeah. We are recording, just so you know. Yeah. What happened? What's going on the corner? I popped the tire. Do you know where? We're trying to. We were looking to see where you were in the casino and everything, and it's all good. It's all good. Change the tire. Okay. Okay. All right. The problem is, hang on for a second. Were you the one driving it? No. You weren't driving it? No. Okay. Who was driving you? A friend of mine. A friend of yours? He's in the casino now? Yep. Okay. We'll see that too. All right. But I need you to stay here for a second. All right. Sir, none of us wants to be involved in this. All right. But I can smell alcohol coming from your breath. I've got this right here. Yeah. Everything's on camera. I got to take it by the numbers. Change the tire. I got to take it by the numbers. We're going to review. If your friend in there was driving to say, we'll see that on the camera. I can go talk to him. Everything will be good. All right. What's that? Okay. It's tight.
He whispered that. He said, I was driving. So, unfortunately, we know he was the one driving, even though he just tried to claim he had a friend inside that was driving. Now let's continue.
Yeah, that's fine.
I got it right. It's a good guy. It's a good guy.
Once you're off the phone, I'm waiting for a few more people to get here, and we'll talk it through. Okay, I'm just waiting for the field OIC to come down. All right. Once the field OIC is down here, we'll talk it through. Okay.
Seriously? Okay. I'll tell you what. Leave the car here. Leave it.
Nope, sir. Sir, I'm gonna ask you to stay here. Stay put. All right.
Why?
Till we figure this out. Because based on what I'm seeing here and smelling alcohol in your breath, I'm going to have to do an investigation through this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And if everything is fine, if it determines that there's no
change the tire.
No, he's not changing the tire right now. Absolutely not.
He can change the tire.
He's not changing the tire yet.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what's sick is he has the badge right on his chest. So while he's sitting here, having been drinking and driving, popped the tire because he was speeding around a curb while he's drinking and driving. He has on his sheriff or whatever police shirt and thinks that he shouldn't be held to a consequence. I mean, this is extremely disturbing, very.
Want to go down the road, huh?
Okay. I want to take everything right by the numbers. Okay. By the numbers and by the book, sir.
That's what we do.
That's correct. Yep. All right. And if at the end of it everything is good.
Stop turning towards me.
No, sir, just stand over here for me, all right?
I'm going to go back in the fucking.
No, you're not going back in the casino. All right, sir. Sir.
Well, so this is from September, guys. See, it says 9/21/2024. Shame on you, Sheriff Kochi. Shame on you. To be an MGM drunk, driving, and then driving reckless to the point where you popped your own tire, you think you shouldn't face any consequences. And then he's even looking at him like, for what? For what? For what? Because you're not supposed to be in your car while you drink. And especially not if you're a police officer, while you're wearing police memorabilia, whatever that is on your t-shirt. with an attitude. And these types will be the most type aggressive officers. It's ridiculous. Let's continue.
Sure, I understand you are the sheriff. I respect that immensely. But right now I'm conducting an investigation, okay? I need you to stay here and follow the directions, 100%. Okay? All right?
You can't pop the tire, huh?
What's that?
You can't pop a tire.
You're not going to be able to put a tire on that rim anyways. That rim is completely and utterly destroyed.
Take out my guy.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Where, do you know where you ran
Yes, I
something
do.
over? Where was it?
Right up on the corner. And I took the turn.
Took the turn into here?
Yeah.
Okay. There looks like there's a plant on there. Was there a plant that?
It might have been.
Might have been. Oh. But that's where it was. So the remnants of the tire should be down. Should be down that way. You don't know?
I have no idea.
Okay. Can I ask you where you're coming from today?
Springfield Country Club.
Springfield Country Club?
Yeah.
All right. The golf tournament?
No.
No, we're just there.
Was there playing golf?
We're there playing golf. Okay.
Yeah. What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for another one of my supervisors so we can have two people here, okay?
Good.
All right. That way everything's recorded, everything's affected, everything's going to be nice and easy, okay, sir?
It's all good.
All right. Officer Cotto.
You see now you just looked at him? He said, oh yeah. It's okay. What did you expect him to do? Let you off? How would you feel if this police officer was letting off a civilian friend of his? Huh? I wonder what his answer would be.
Can you head down to the corner at East Columbus and just see if there's any remnants of the tire there at all? That's where you were and there was nothing there?
The right may not be.
May not be where you hit it?
Okay. That's where I hit it, but.
Okay. Did you, after turning in here and hitting it, did you drive anywhere else where you could find the tire?
No.
No? So, okay. I'm just saying the tire should be somewhere between where that was hit and here.
Yeah,
okay. Just do me a favor one more time. Just walk down there and then walk the whole way back to see if we can find the tire.
Look at he said, I'm gonna get you. We need to check on this officer who put this body cam. That's probably why he put the body cam footage out too. Like, oh, you looking at me like I'm your next meal. Okay. Lola said, what happened? Well, this officer was driving and drinking, and he, with his vehicle, sped over a curb and popped the tire. The whole tire, almost all the tire came off. So obviously he was drinking and driving recklessly. Now the police officer, when he showed up to see what was going on with this car and this gentleman, he smelled a strong odor of alcohol coming from him. So he felt compelled to, charge him with OUI, get his officers involved, because it doesn't matter if you're a sheriff or whatever you are. Sheriff Coochie. A Sheriff Coachy. Okay, COCCHI. I didn't say Sheriff Coochie. But it's imperative that that man lost the whole tire and he's not in handcuffs. LOL, must be nice. That's what I'm saying. Like, he got an attitude whole time, like you were driving drunk enough where you ruined your vehicle. Like, you're just lucky to have not hit a car or person or caused a bigger accident. It would have been a black man. You would have been in handcuffs. Well, James, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about police, corrupt police, period. Okay? So, please, let's stay on topic.
appreciate your understanding.
You're a good man.
I appreciate your understanding.
Yeah.
Someone coming over from
Christina.
Okay. We're going to take a walk over where we're a little bit out of sight. Okay? No. How much you had to drink tonight, sir? Couple beers?
Yeah. Keep recording. We're not going nowhere.
Okay. I'd like to ask you to do field.
Look at the other deputy looking at him too, like, what you gonna do? What does he expect? You're caught being a dumb, drunk sheriff. Yes, thank you to this Mass State police officer for recording this sheriff thinking that he's above the law. Thank you to him. Because he's standing there like a whole Karen. Look at him. He got his hands spread out. Like, how dare you? How dare you, officer? They're going to keep recording you, son. Like, listen. He thinks that the guy's just going to turn his body camera off because you're a sheriff. No. No one told you to get your drunk behind the wheel and, knock your whole tire off. And you heard him. He said the whole rim is messed up too. That car's probably going to have to get towed. So he was driving recklessly and drunk. Yeah, he seems mean. He definitely is mean. And this is what I said. These types are probably the ones that be literally the most aggressive. He's holding his arms out because he's trying to keep his balance. He definitely might be, but like the Karen energy is giving like this is him trying to assert his dominance, but not realizing he looks like a Karen. So we got less than a minute left, and then we're gonna move on to the last few videos. We got 2 left. All right, let's continue.
Sobriety. Not gonna happen.
I'm not driving. Yeah. Feel sobriety for what?
Well, you drove in.
That was a long time ago. What's up, Nikki? I'm by my car. Nope. No, it's all good. Yep. All right, bye.
Now, security right inside if you need to address something there.
Where the Mass Mutual Center is.
It's across the street on the other side of the casino. Yep. All right, can you stand with him for a second?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, so let me get those off the screen, and we got 2 more. Now, the next one is a trooper suspended, and 180 cases are being dismissed after they discover misconduct by this state trooper. All right, let's get into this case. I bet you guys didn't know about this many cases of police corruption. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. The last time I did this video, some scumbags in the chat made me feel like I was, trying to make all police out to be bad. And I was like, you know what? F this, right? I'm going to put together a set of body cam video that's really going to illustrate the fact that, you know, there's a lot of corrupt officers. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't put this to light the same way we put out body cam of people drinking and driving, acting crazy behind the wheel, all of that, then I would be a hypocrite, you know? So I'm just a view for study says I gotta go meet you. Okay, see you later. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate you and your commentary in the chat. This is why I just ain't follow the law, because they don't either. Well, don't blame the police. He said, I'm going to get away with this. Yeah, he thought he was going to. He definitely did. All right, so the next story is just a few minutes long, but it is disturbing. All right, let's get into it.
News we want to tell you about this noon. 2 highway patrol troopers are on administrative leave. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. It started with an investigation into a deadly crash in October on Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh. The findings resulted in the Wake County District Attorney's Office dismissing 180 cases.
Chelsea Donovan just spoke with the district attorney and joins us now live at the Wake County Justice Center. Chelsea.
All right, so after speaking with District Attorney Lauren Freeman, she told me that she got word last month from someone within the SBI that had concerns about 2 of these troopers that responded to this deadly crash up on Capitol Boulevard. That crash happened on October 7th, and she found some information through dash cam and body cam video that the responding troopers' information may not have been entirely truthful and credible as to what happened within that crash. Now, this is video of that deadly crash on October 7th of last year. District Attorney Lauren Freeman says she saw evidence on dash and body camera video that may have indicated Trooper Garrett Maricario could have been providing misleading information. Now, Macario is 26 years old. He was hired on the force back in 2021. Freeman called him historically.
Now, you know what gets me about these cases? It be the little scummy ones, you know, that are always doing this. Now, I'm going to say this sergeant who was, you know, the way they're beating around the bush, they're basically saying, you know, that he was providing misleading information. Just say the truth. Was he lying? Was he planting evidence? Was he exaggerating? Was he calling certain people drunk drivers when they weren't? I mean, what was actually going on in that moment? Instead of just saying, you know, he was providing misleading information, tell us what he did that is causing you to drop 180 cases. That's a lot of cases to be dropped. A lot of innocent people to have been involved with law enforcement. You know, ridiculous. Let's continue.
Aggressive on driving while impaired cases, but as of this week, she's had to dismiss all of his cases. So that means all of his cases in which he brought about charges. This is close to 200 cases. Now, also, his supervisor, 40-year-old Matthew Morrison, has also been put on leave by the Highway Patrol.
I think absolutely. We believe that credibility among law enforcement is essential to the work that we do on a daily basis. And, you know, we need, in order to be able to seek justice, we've got to be able to trust our officers. And frankly, when we can't, you know, it's disgusting, and it results in us not being able to move forward and hold people accountable.
Yeah. You know, she's entirely right. And the reason why it's disgusting, right, is because...
Now, yes, Freeman told me that she anticipated...
180 cases were dropped. It doesn't necessarily mean that 180 people were innocent. But these type of technicalities are an infringement of justice, right? Somebody who is engaging in regularly, you know, unethical behavior he can be no enforcer of law. And that's essentially what is being said by her there. And I think she's right? We can't take anything you say as credible. when you don't hold yourself to the proper standard as a law enforcement officer. And that's why she's implying all these cases were dropped. Now, I do think more than half of those people are probably innocent, but some guilty people are probably getting away because of the technicality of, dealing with a corrupt police officer. So yeah, this type of lack of integrity undermines the work of the police. It truly does.
It's dismissing the majority of Sergeant Matthew Morrison's cases as well. He's not on the road as much as Trooper Macario, so she doesn't expect it's going to be a high number, like close to 180. This is an investigation that's just started. It's important to note, though, right now, neither of these troopers have been charged with any crimes. They're simply being investigated by the DA's office as well as the SBI. Live in downtown Raleigh, Chelsea Donovan, WRL News.
All right. So, yeah, very, very, very disturbing that many cases are being dropped due to negligence and corruption. All right, guys. For the first time ever, I made it to the bottom of my list. So I'm gonna try my best to do more of what I did today, which is find some shorter clips and articles that we can talk about that are related to body cam. Shout out to everyone in the chat who's engaging. You guys are so much a part of the show. You don't even understand. Okay, sorry, I gotta share the right video. I don't know why I turned my camera on and didn't share the link that I'm trying to share with you guys. Let me share this here. I got the last video coming up. Now this one is one where a police chief just he just couldn't stand, the injustice and the disgusting behavior that we're about to see in this video. So trigger warning for anybody who finds police involved altercations to be triggering. All right. Louis says, sweet, thanks, perfect timing. Have a good day. Yes, everyone have a good day today. If you put more production volumes of video streams like this, you could directly combat Donut Operator. Ooh, Donut Operator. Who's that? I don't know what that is. What's up, everybody? What we talking about? Well, keep watching. You'll see we're doing some body cam videos. This is the last one that I'm doing tonight. So hopefully you enjoy it, or at least learn something from it, because I don't think the contents of this video are enjoyable. All right, let's continue.
In Columbus, Ohio, police are smashing the face of a 14-year-old boy.
Please don't do it. You hit my face.
The teenager is complying, but Officer Donovan Beaver keeps grabbing the kid's dreadlocks and slamming his head into the pavement.
I'm sorry.
A few minutes earlier, the teenager was part of a group of kids who crossed the street, yelled at the cops, "F the police," and then ran.
That's tight. That's tight.
Now, on top of an unlawful arrest,
I'm complying.
Officer Beaver is being abusive and rough.
I'm complying.
You move, I will break your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You understand me?
Yes, I understand. I'm on. I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. Oh, my face. All right, stop. That's the torch. All right, sorry. All right, I won't do it again.
Yeah, make sure you don't have a gun, brother.
I don't got a gun. I don't got,
Legal experts point out that all citizens, including teenagers, have free speech rights under the Constitution. The courts, including the circuit that covers Ohio, have repeatedly ruled that yelling profanities at police, even telling them to themselves, is protected speech. And if police respond by making an arrest, the arrest is unlawful. In this case, legal experts say the unlawful action by Officer Beaver is not even a close call. The kids broke no laws by crossing the street, and Officer Beaver, say the experts, is breaking the law now by repeatedly assaulting the teen.
Heard it for what?
You're under arrest. We tell you to stop and get run.
It wasn't that serious, bro.
It is now.
All right, it is now, bro. Dang, you didn't have to do my face like that.
You shut down and
Wow. And I'm going to give this. I'm going to say shout out to this young man for being raised right. Right? To not be going off and going wild when something like this is being done to you, because I don't think it would have worked. I don't think dealing with this dangerous individual in a an aggressive way would have ended well for this young man. But he said it. He said, "You didn't have to do me like that." It is not illegal to tell an officer to go F himself, right? And that's what happens when you make these police officers believe they're above the law. It is not against the law to tell you, officer, go yourself, right? Just like I work in a certain field, and yes, because of the nature of the, let's say, awareness and condition of some of the people I serve, they can say certain things to me, and I can't take it personal. Just like these officers, you can't take it personal when they say F the police. You can't. And it's crazy that he treated somebody who was actually extremely respectful, because the kid, even though he was being hurt, didn't resist, didn't, act up, and he was still being treated as if he did. Bad cop, no life, no accountability. I'm going to say this. If it weren't for body cam footage, how would we even know majority of the stuff is going on? Because it started with the cell phone, right? People started recording encounters with the police. And so we saw egregious violence, Rodney King, things like that, right? Now body cam. Body cam was instituted in many, many police departments in 2014. And now in 2025, 80% of police departments have them. That's a blessing. That's a blessing that you guys have to thank Barack Obama for, because we did not have police body camera footage. But with this, we're able to see, so many egregious things. But again, shout out to this young man's parents for raising him right. I think even the way he spoke up for himself was respectful. Oh yeah, Ascending Phoenix. Exactly, they're crybabies. This is exactly what I was trying. I didn't want to say what field I work in, and I'm still not going to. Some people deal with this on the daily, and they still show up to work. They don't bring resentment, hatred. They don't hold any personal animosity in their heart. Yeah, it was about 2014, I believe, Louis, if I'm remembering it correctly. I think it was by executive order. Why are these videos blurred? Because there's children involved in this. These young men were protesting. They weren't committing a crime, and it's also, again, illegal to have the face of a minor, on the internet, and things like that, or in public in general. Juveniles and especially minors have the right to privacy that adults don't have. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It may not be illegal to tell police to go F themselves, but don't tell people that the young man was raised right. Hey, listen, you can't say that actually, because in the time of, when there was, let's say, I don't want to use the wrong buzzwords, but in times of conflict in the past, some of y'all's grandparents and parents were speaking up against the police, against the military, against everything. So these young men having passion is not being raised wrong. Okay? Because there are adults that don't act with this much, thought and respect. And he had his head slammed into the ground, and this cop wanted to pull his hair for some reason. I'm just saying, Zachary, I'm not a politician. I'm just saying. Like, I know you're over here being sarcastic, but I'm just saying.
60s, we're fine.
Bro, y'all pick up my AirPods and my phone and my. All right.
What's your name?
Bro, it's Adonis. Damn. Can I grab my AirPods?
I'll get them later.
All right.
Hey, Wagon's back here.
All right, see, you don't have to do that. All right.
Here, Officer Beaver is pulling the 14-year-old boy's hair while guiding him to the police cruiser.
Oh, yeah. No, that is just cruel. And this is what I'm saying. You don't need to be in this field if every person who calls you the F-bomb or whatever, you're going to suddenly feel like you have the right to use extra extreme violence against them. Why would you be grabbing him or pulling him by his dreads? And you know what's so funny? It's not like the parents can retaliate or anything like that. This officer just gets to do this because he's in this position. Ridiculous. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not doing anti-police streams. I'm just being honest. I'm being transparent. The same way I get up here and show you body camera of people acting a damn fool in front of the police 24/7. Just like I show you shoplifters. Just like I show you people abusing their partners of all races, of all groups. I'm not here to be anti-police. I'm here to tell you all the truth. And sometimes the police are going to be the bad guys. Thank you, Zachary. I appreciate it. This cop was out of line, bottom line. Exactly, Eric. He was completely out of line, and to a young man at that point. Ridiculous.
Chill.
And once, I'm not letting you run away. I'm getting you to the cruiser safely. You understand?
All right, bro. All right.
Separate your feet. You have one chance to listen.
All right.
Separate your feet. Why?
All right. Bro, you didn't even put the on me right.
Failure to comply.
All right.
You're under arrest.
All right.
I get some gloves because you're covered in blood.
All right.
You got AIDS?
No.
Hey, look at me. Look at me.
Are you kidding me? Did you hear what this scumbag? First of all, scum, you're more likely to have AIDS. How are you gonna slam his head in the ground, get him all bloodied up, and then be sitting there asking him about AIDS? You should have kept your damn hands to yourself. You wouldn't have had to worry about blood. This is a scumbag. A complete scumbag.
Virginia felony. You
I'm
understand?
not trying to get you. I got blood in my mouth.
Hey,
all right,
no
chill.
cussing.
Chill.
Separate
chill,
your feet.
Chill.
Look at me like
Oh,
a man.
shut the hell up. You just sat there and dragged him, called him all types of names. Now you got to never talk about cussing. You should be ashamed of yourself. Probably got all types of STDs and has the nerve to be talking about AIDS and cussing. Imagine holding yourself above somebody while you're treating somebody else like trash like this. A pure scumbag. And I'm glad he got fired, but you know what? The sad thing is, he might get away with this. That's the sad part.
Bro, put your hands on me. Can y'all go grab my stuff?
We'll get your stuff.
Drop my phone. My
Focus on this for right now. Focus on this. Just listen to what he's saying, okay?
You got anything on you? Poke me, stick me, harm me.
No. Damn, why you taking my... Bro, like... Bro, can you grab that? Bro, look how it's doing.
Separate your feet.
Bro, yeah, you're a son. If your son. Oh my daddy, your son. Bro, look at you tugging my...
Boy, let me help you here, buddy. Let me get those cuffs on you, because you're here.
How are you helping? You've attacked him. You've humiliated him. You've treated him in a degrading way. How are you helping? You know, these type of scumbags, they really do disgrace the role. This brings disgrace to the role. I don't care what anybody says. This is disgusting behavior. This is the behavior of somebody who was raised by animals. Because if you raise somebody to treat others who bleed blood just like you do, like this, yeah, you're scum. Just like what did this creature that you created. Yeah. The sad part is he'll go a county over and get another job as a cop. Yeah, exactly. And this is why certain officers who do try to hold people accountable, right? They got a chip on their shoulder because at the end of the day, they know there's going to be some cops and other ex-police officers or whoever who are going to go 10 toes down behind this officer and say he doesn't deserve to be fired. And he won't be. So I'm saying, like, he could easily go to another department. Now, hopefully we see something at the end of this video that gives us some hope. Okay, because even though we know there are good police officers, the fact that these types exist is actually terrifying.
Bro, hold still. Look at how bro.
That was a punch to the genitals.
Why no doing this all night like
Four officers who are right there watching with their heads down, knowing that they're watching some bullshit, right? They're why videos like this need to be made, right? They're why I have to make a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4 and a part 5 and a part 6 and however many parts that I need to fill up, so that we don't forget that while we're sitting here every day or every other day talking about what everyday people do when they encounter the police, that we also talk about what police are doing. That we're holding every single level of people accountable, because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It used to be a time, 10 years ago, something like this would happen and we would be talking about it for weeks and days, but now we're gaslit out of having the conversation about police brutality, right?
Yeah, they said that like.
Yeah, they shut it down.
Bro, like, what are you on there for?
You're looking for.
You ran? I'm making sure you don't have a weapon on you.
You're not gonna
Look at
find
me.
nothing on me.
I'm making sure you
You're
don't
not
have a
gonna
weapon on
find
you.
nothing on me. You're not gonna on me.
We need to backtrack it off this.
Was it that?
Bro, can I get switched to a different cruiser? I do not want to go with this. I don't trust this. Oh my god.
That's not how this works.
I do not trust him. What the?
You unlock the thing, so you can put him back.
Yeah.
Bro, I do not trust you.
I'll help you in a second.
Bro, oh my god.
To the right of the playground.
What did you have to do this for? Like,
You ran from us.
all right, but you still don't have to.
I am a law enforcement
All right, you don't have
officer.
to.
No. And let me say this. I got to make sure this is said. Whether you're a law enforcement officer or not, it's not your job to arrest people for saying stuff that you don't like. You only get to operate under the law, right? That's the only power bestowed upon you by the people, right? Every branch of government, including law enforcement, receives its power from the people. And we only give you the power to arrest people for crimes, not for hurting your feelings. And there is a subset of people, of police officers, of people who support police officers, who believe that police officers have the right to get mad and hurt people because they're mad, and that they should be allowed to do that. No. Suck it up. Like the rest of us have to suck it up when people disrespect us at our job. McDonald's workers get disrespected on the daily, and they're not allowed to punch their customers, grab their customers by the hair. So it's ridiculous that he would even he should have just kept his mouth shut. And those 4 officers who sat there and watched him do that, instead of saying, hey, calm down, you're upset, let me deal with him, like I've seen some officers do, they just sat there and watched him do that to a kid, and for no good reason. So this is the reason why people get upset. Whether it's 1 officer or 10, that 1 officer sat there and 4 other officers did nothing. They did nothing. So don't be mad at me, right? Be mad at the people who aren't willing to hold these people accountable, who aren't willing to step in the moment and actually say something, right? Because they give all police officers a bad rep. And that it just is what it is. It doesn't mean that all police officers are bad, but this gives it a bad name, a bad reputation.
That way. Hey, will you let me go? Yeah. Come here. That's his police. Can you read?
Yes.
I'm a Columbus police officer.
Yes.
When I stop you, you have to stop.
All right.
You're now failing to comply.
All right.
All right. You're under arrest. All right.
You didn't make it to Roger on the 3. Okay.
Another.
Yeah.
You see them? All of them. That's 4 or 5 police officers that he just walked by. They see him acting a fool. He's not even buckled in there. You know, this is how people really do pass away in the hands of police. This type of anger going unchecked.
This incident happened in February 2024. Officer Donovan Beaver was immediately placed on leave, and now, months later, Officer Beaver has been fired. Several police leaders, including Chief Elaine Bryant, reviewed the arrest report and body camera. Chief Bryant said Officer Beaver's actions made her angry, disappointed, and upset. I don't think his actions reflect the division as a whole, but when it's brought to our attention, we want to deal with it. And we want to make sure that we send the message that we will not accept this for our community. According to Columbus Police Department records, Officer Donovan Beaver had a clean record, though there were concerns about his language. In 2021, a supervisor recommended Beaver receive counseling over his language. So perhaps Donovan Beaver went nuts because the kids yelled the F word at him and he had been reprimanded for using it himself. In any case, an independent prosecutor is now investigating Beaver for possible criminal charges. Kudos to Police Chief Bryant for not waiting to terminate Donovan Beaver. She followed department protocols calling for a 90-day review and then acted decisively.
Honestly, I think we need to stop giving kudos for police chiefs taking the action they're supposed to take. When a police officer does this and to a 14-year-old boy, they should be fired right away. That should be standard. The next step is prosecuting for this behavior. Because using your title as a police officer to assault somebody is just ridiculous, honestly. Now, make sure you guys go follow Rebel HQ. Anytime I use somebody's video, I'm going to make sure I shout them out, especially if they don't do the trashy thing of trying to, oh, damn. They definitely did. And I know who did. It's all right. I know you people are definitely over there trying to flag this. And by tomorrow, it's going to be back to regular ads. But I don't know why I'm, like, suffering of getting flagged. It doesn't make any sense. I did not show anything inappropriate at all. All right, so I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, watching the body cam footage today. This was part 2 of When the Police Are the Bad Guys. And if I can come up with as many videos, there will be a part 3 and a part 4 and a part 5, along with many other topics that we're going to be talking about. All right, so thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.